Have you ever noticed how the most powerful person in a room is rarely the loudest one? Well, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something I find absolutely fascinating. It's a concept called shadow charisma, and we're looking at the subconscious blueprint of silent authority. We're going to explore the exact psychological mechanics behind why some people naturally draw respect without seemingly lifting a finger. By mastering the strategic use of silence, slow movement, and rock-solid boundaries, you can literally rewire how people perceive you from the ground up. Let's jump right in.
So why do some people instantly command respect, while others just get ignored? Think about the last boardroom meeting you were in, or maybe a crowded social gathering. There's almost always that one person who keeps getting talked over, right? No matter how hard they try to jump in. And then there's someone else. Someone who barely raises their voice, but the second they clear their throat, the whole room goes dead silent just to listen. It's a universally frustrating experience to feel unheard. But the secret to flipping that dynamic isn't about your looks or your job title. It's pure subconscious psychology. And today, we're breaking down the blueprint that can completely change how the world interacts with you.
Okay, let's dive into this and start by shattering a massive myth. We've all been taught that respect is something earned over a long, tough period of time. But actually, scratch that. The reality of human behavior is way harsher. People decide exactly how they're going to treat you within seconds of meeting you. Psychologists call this thin slicing. It's an evolutionary survival instinct where our brains make rapid, subconscious calculations about a person's status based on incredibly subtle cues. If you don't actively control those first few seconds, you quite literally lose the room's respect before you even open your mouth to speak.
To take control of those crucial first few seconds, we're moving to the Blueprint Pillar 1, the scarcity of voice.
This whole thing boils down to a well-documented rule known as the scarcity effect. Simply put, things that are rare are automatically perceived as more valuable. Now think about how powerfully this applies to conversation. We all have that one colleague who chimes in on literally every trivial topic, filling every quiet void with words. Subconsciously, talking that much projects insecurity. It feels eager to please or desperate for validation. But consider the opposite. Think of the person who sits quietly through the first 45 minutes of a meeting, and when they finally speak, they drop a total game-changing insight. Because their words are rare, people lean in. We subconsciously assign a dramatically higher value to their thoughts just because they don't hand them out for free.
And you can see how this leads right into the profound difference between over-explaining and directness. When you over-explain your choices or your actions, you're essentially broadcasting a subconscious plea for validation to everyone around you. It's a defensive posture that says, please understand my reasoning so I can feel secure. On the flip side, clean, unfiltered directness signals absolute power. The trick here is simple but requires discipline. Pause, think, then speak. And when you do speak, be crystal clear. Cut out the fluff, the apologies, and the endless justifications. By simply removing the over-explaining, you signal that your words are valuable enough to stand entirely on their own.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next point, which takes us into the active mechanics of silence. The Blueprint Pillar 2, the pressure of the pause.
I want you to feel this for a moment. Just sit with it. Did you feel that? That heavy, slightly awkward pressure? That is the exact weight of silence. And it is a massively underutilized psychological tool.
Like the quote says, silence is uncomfortable, and that's exactly why it works. Confident individuals never chase a conversation, and they definitely don't rush to fill the awkward gaps. Think about what happens when someone interrupts you. Your natural instinct is probably to raise your voice and fight for the floor, right? But the absolute worst thing you can do is compete. Next time you're interrupted, try this. Just pause. Stop speaking completely. Maintain calm eye contact with the person who cut you off and simply wait. By refusing to engage in a verbal tug of war, you force the interrupter to feel the agonizing awkwardness of their own intrusion. The silence creates immense pressure, naturally pulling the power dynamic entirely back to you. That calm control leads us seamlessly into the Blueprint Pillar 3, the power of firm boundaries. Because saying yes to everything is the fastest way to lose respect. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is these specific boundary scripts. I'm not okay with that. I'll get back to you. Not right now. They aren't aggressive, but they are incredibly firm. The absolute magic of executing these scripts lies in your delivery. They have to be spoken with a calm, unbothered confidence. Notice the crucial element missing here? There's no anger, and most importantly, there's no because attached to the end of them. You don't need to justify your boundaries or give a logical excuse for your limits. You simply state them as undeniable facts. The moment you respect your own time, others will too. This is the core psychological link governing interpersonal respect. People are constantly, subconsciously testing boundaries to figure out exactly where you sit in the social hierarchy. Defending your time acts like a psychological tripwire. By protecting your availability without apology or hesitation, you're sending a huge signal to the world about your intrinsic value. People intuitively recognize and defer to folks who value themselves enough to simply say no. Because if you don't value your own time, the world will gladly take it from you.
So we've covered the scarcity of your voice, the pressure of your pauses, and the firmness of your boundaries. Now for the final physical pillar, the blueprint pillar 4, the subconscious language of movement.
Remember our earlier discussion about how people thin-slice your value in a matter of seconds? Well, your body is talking loud and clear before you ever utter a single syllable. Fast, jerky movements, fidgeting, darting eyes. Our brains universally decode that as anxiety. Why? Because that kind of erratic movement mimics a prey animal constantly scanning for threats. It makes you appear small and reactive. Conversely, calm, deliberate, and slow movements equate directly to unshakable confidence. Think of an apex predator. A creature completely secure in its environment does not rush. Stand straight. Hold firm, steady eye contact. When you shift your weight or reach for something, do it slowly. This physical baseline radiates a powerful, unspoken message. I know my worth, and I am entirely safe in this space.
Which brings us all together for the overarching philosophical takeaway from our source material. The shift. Stop chasing, start commanding. It all boils down to this harsh but profoundly liberating truth. People don't respect you because you're nice. They respect you because you value yourself. Being overly accommodating, rushing to fill the silence, over-explaining your choices, these are all well-intentioned, sure, but ultimately, they're just tactics used to chase approval. And the absolute truth of human psychology is that the moment you stop desperately chasing approval, respect inherently starts chasing you. By valuing your own presence, you shift the entire dynamic. You no longer seek to be accepted by the room, you literally become the focal point of it. So, ask yourself honestly as you step into your next interaction, are you chasing approval or are you silently commanding respect? The mechanics of shadow charisma are fully in your hands now. Remember to leverage the strategic scarcity of your voice, lean into the heavy pressure of the pause, establish your boundaries without justification, and let your slow, deliberate movements project that apex confidence. Implement this subconscious blueprint and just watch how the world's perception of you shifts instantly. Thanks for tuning into this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.